I just wanted to come and talk to you guys about a few things. I haven't been on in a few days. I had to sort of recoup from this whole Kanika Jenkins ordeal. It drained me. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I didn't eat. I couldn't think or anything. I just needed to take a little break from that for a little while. Tonight I just want to touch base on a story that I was reading that, you know, caught my eye. It deals with a domestic violence situation. And I figured it would be good to talk about because the month of October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read a little bit of this to you to explain this, to get the story out, and then after I talk to you guys about this, then I'm gonna have a discussion about domestic violence, and then I'd like for everyone to put their comments or views at the bottom of the video. Like and subscribe if you'd like. I appreciate everybody's support. Everybody's been very good. There's been a few rude people on the comments, but that's everywhere. So, if it's a rude comment, just know that I do not pay attention to any of that. All the positive comments, I love you guys. Y'all have been great. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is talking about a mom of a mass shooting victim describes the last week of her daughter's life. This lady right here in the picture, she was involved in a mass shooting. Okay, so as soon as Debbie Lane got clearance to drive after cataract surgery, she filled her pickup truck with used patio furniture and carted it to her only child in Plano, Texas. Meredith Height, 27, was going through a divorce after 6 years of marriage, and her house needed a makeover. Lane, who lives in Georgia, was eager to help. So for a week, the mother-daughter duo worked side by side to transform the space. They split the cost of a new sofa. They painted the old plastic furniture a beige taupe, so the Texas dirt wouldn't show. They planted bright flowers in the garden. They picked out floral cushions and big green umbrellas, which gave the patio an outdoor cafe feel. After a few days of cleaning, primping, and rearranging, the house finally felt like Heights again. Lane said her daughter was visibly relieved to be in the final stages of separating from Spencer Height. Her husband has been abusive to her, Height told her mother, and physically attacked her on 2 occasions. She was looking forward to reclaiming her life, Lane said. It was like getting the biggest monkey in the universe off your back and being able to walk freely again. Lane hugged her daughter goodbye on a Wednesday. Height was excited about the coming Sunday as she was hosting a football watching party for a group of friends. It would be her first gathering in her new and improved house and a chance to start over. Height, who was a merchandising supervisor for Coca-Cola, was also celebrating her recent decision to pursue an MBA. It ended up being the last night of her life. According to police, her estranged and heavily armed husband crashed the party on September 10th and opened fire, killing her and 7 of her friends. He was fatally shot by a responding police officer. As the massacre had 8 victims, it earned the unenviable title of the deadliest mass shooting of the year, matched only by another domestic violence shooting in Mississippi. According to research collected by Everytown for Gun Safety, a majority of mass shootings, defined as incidents where at least 4 people are killed, not including the perpetrator, involved domestic violence. Between 2009 and 2016, In 54% of mass shootings, the perpetrator shot a current or former intimate partner or family member. In general, most murders of U.S. women involve domestic violence. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the most common weapon used is a gun. Lane got a call around 1 a.m. on Monday morning that her daughter's house was surrounded by police. Immediately, she said her mind turned to Spencer. He was a gun person. She said he was the only one I suspected. According to search warrants acquired by HuffPost, Spencer showed up at a local Plano bar that Sunday night carrying a knife and a loaded firearm magazine. Timothy Banks, an employee of the bar, asked Spencer to take the items back to his car and escorted him outside. But when Spencer opened the trunk, he asked Banks to avert his eyes. That aroused Banks' suspicion, and he and another... Let's see. Hold on. So sorry. He and another bartender followed Spencer as he left the bar. When they saw him pull up to Hite's home, they called 911. By the time police arrived, it was too late. One woman who survived the shooting told police that she saw Spencer inside the home with what appeared to be a rifle and heard gunshots. "Did you really have to do this?" Hite asked her estranged husband before he fired again. When HuffPost spoke to Lane, she had just gotten back to Georgia. She and her husband drove to Plano as soon as they heard about the shooting and did not return for 16 days. When they did, they came home to more obstacles. They had lost power during Hurricane Irma and the fridges were full of rotting food. "We know we are in a new normal and we will never be the same. We are just trying to take things in stride." She described her daughter as brilliant and driven, saying that her daughter started college in a dual enrollment program for accelerated students when she was just 15. She got a degree in mathematics and was excited about going to graduate school for business. Hite didn't tell her mother about her husband's abuse until after she filed for divorce. She was so independent. I am sure she was tremendously embarrassed by having made a decision that included him in her life. Lane said that she knew many of Hite's friends who were slain alongside with her, calling them wonderful people. Whenever we came into town, her friends came to see us, watch a movie, watch a football game, have a beer. It just broke our hearts that her best friends were targets simply because they were friends. This is so sad. You know, when I look at this lady who's 27 years old, you know, just living a normal, happy life, getting out of a bad situation to reclaim a new one. You know, just reading this, it just makes me, it touches home really bad. It really makes me think of myself. Just to tell you a little bit, I was actually in a very abusive relationship, and I was in this relationship for 3.5 years. When I entered the relationship, I had 3 children, 3 pretty small children. At that time, I believe they were, let's see, they were 8, 6, and 5. And I met this guy who was very, very sweet, very nice. He was very different from any other guy that I had been with. And he, you know, we really just clicked. We really just had a very strong sort of instant bond. You know, like it felt like we were perfect for each other. Well, for the first year, everything was. And then after that, I mean, he literally just snapped. He turned into a completely different person, into a monster. Um, it's crazy because nobody, people don't believe you a lot of times when, you know, when you're going through an abusive relationship. They wonder what you've done to cause the other person to get mad. Because from a normal aspect or a normal point of view, you look at things and, usually it takes something to make someone angry, especially to, just hit a person. Normally, someone doesn't just hit a person for no reason. But, you know, when someone is extremely abusive and when they just transition into a completely different state of thought or state of mind, you know, within such a short period of time, that's not normal. So, for them to act that way, that is their normal. Um, but I endured this uh, very violent relationship for 3.5 years. Um, Throughout that time, I ended up getting pregnant and I had a fourth child, which is my last child. I have been out of the relationship for almost 6 years now. Thank God. Uh, and a lot of people ask, well, why did you stay? Or how did you stay so long? Or, you know, they look at the person like they're stupid. And, that's not the case all the time. Because I'm a very, very intelligent person. I'm not dumb at all. Um, and to be honest, the only thing that did keep me there was for the sake of my family. Um, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I stayed because I loved him and I figured he would change. Well, I knew that this person wasn't going to change, so that wasn't my excuse, or my reason. The reason, there is no excuse, but the reason for that, is my children, the safety of my kids. And I know it sounds a little contradictory. Well, I stayed in a violent relationship for the safety of my children. How is that? Well, every time I would try to leave, it got worse. Anytime I would call the police, which I didn't call them very often because the only two times that I did call, it made it worse. I called, one day he beat me up really, really bad, and I called the police. They came over, they took pictures. They never arrested him. They did press charges, but they sent a letter in the mail 30 days later. Uh, it didn't make it any better for me because the day right after they left, he came over and I was unconscious. I got choked unconsciously, and I literally saw my life fade away before my eyes. That was the scariest thing. It was the most quietest, darkest moment for those few seconds. Um, I've had my head busted open. I've had to get 7 staples in my head. Uh, it hasn't been a walk in the park. But let me tell you, it made me who I am today, and I would take every inch of abuse over again to get to where I am now. It has made me a stronger person. Um, Having to endure that, and you know, I got my son out of it. So I would never change anything. If I had to go through it all over again, I would do it. But you know, it really hurts me to read this story right here. You know, because I can relate to her. She was 28, she's 27. I was 27 when I got into this relationship. Um, you know, and then I have a daughter who's 18, and you know, the girl, this girl in this article, Meredith, is her mom said that she was doing she had done dual enrollment when she was younger, and you know, in high school and college, and you know, my daughter's done the same thing, and it just, you know, it just makes me wonder what is going through someone's head, or why anyone feels like it's right for them to take someone's life. And he didn't just take one life, he took 7 or 8. I mean, he killed all these people at this cookout, all because of obsession and control. And that is where the domestic violence comes from. It comes from obsession and control. And the first time that the attacker, or I'm sorry, the violent partner feels like they're losing a little bit of control, they start to get violent. You know, and it just, it bothers me because it doesn't get any better. It seems like it's getting worse. There's more cases. There's so many deaths that result from domestic violence. You know, and it just, I'm a non-violent person. I don't like altercations. I don't like negativity. I don't like violence at all. You know, and it just bothers me how people feel like it's okay for them to hit someone else's mother or father or daughter or son, or you know, I just don't feel like it's just not right, you know. And I don't know, it really bothers me, you know. But since, you know, this is domestic awareness domestic violence awareness month, I'm gonna be touching base on other stories and articles that I come across that deal with domestic violence, because it is an outrageous number of articles that I see every day that stem from this, you know, and it really needs to stop. Um, you know, so, oh, by the way, today is my birthday. Today is my 37th birthday. And that's, you know, that's another reason what made me come on here and you know, and read this story, because it made me think, you know, I got out of this terrible nightmare that I was living in for what seemed like an eternity. And I finally broke free of that. And you know, every year when I have a birthday and I'm able to see another year, it really touches me, and I thank God. I thank God every day for sparing my life, because there were multiple times when I could have lost my life, but I didn't. He wants me here for a reason. And I just thank God for that. So just please leave your comments below. If anybody's ever been through any kind of situation, feel free to share. Um, Soon I will be starting a discussion. I'll be going live and doing live discussions. And I will be posting some things to my website, to my channel. I will also be putting up different topics that I'm going to discuss. And if any of you, I'm also going to add my email address to my channel. So if anybody has any type of topics that they'd like for me to discuss, please feel free to send them to my email, and I will make sure that I touch base on the topics once I start doing live shows. So like my video, subscribe to my channel if you like. I've got a lot of good things in mind coming up soon. So, but I felt like I just really need to share my story, because there's a lot of people out here, men and women, who are in violent relationships and feel like they just can't get out, and they feel like, you know, they're to a certain level of, you know, of feeling unworthy, you know, and it just they feel like they don't deserve any better, or like they can't get any better, or like this is it for them, this is what life has to offer. And, you know, just a message to everyone out there, anyone that might hear me that's going through a violent situation, it's never too late to get out. I don't care if you've been in a relationship for 10 or 20 years, or a week, or whatever the case is. It is never too late. And if you feel like you need to get out, get out. Get out. Listen to your heart. Listen to your mind. Get out. Because nobody is worth your life unless you're unless you're putting your life on the line for your children, or, you know, a husband or wife, or, you know, some sort of loved one. But to just deal with someone disrespecting you and being violent, you know, emotionally or physically or verbally, you know, a lot of people think that domestic violence is only physical, but it's not. Violence goes way deeper than that. And it's not okay. It's not okay for anybody to treat someone else like that. And it's not okay for someone to feel like they have to deal with that. So it's never too late. Escape if you can. You never know when you're in a situation like that. You never know when it might be your last moment to live. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thanks everybody for watching and listening to me rant and rave. But put your comments below. Like, subscribe, and share. And I will be back with more. Have a good night, everybody.